the Council's arrogance. The Stellar Dominion Council chamber floated in the darkness between galaxies, a massive structure built from crystallized starlight and quantum metal. Inside, representatives from 47 advanced civilizations gathered around a circular platform that glowed with soft purple light. These were the rulers of known space, beings who had conquered planets, mastered faster-than-light travel, and believed themselves to be the pinnacle of galactic evolution. They had seen empires rise and fall across 10,000 years. They had witnessed the birth of stars and the collapse of civilizations. Nothing in the universe surprised them anymore, or so they thought. Commander Zirith stood at his designated position, his 4 arms folded across his chest. He was a Krell, a species known for military precision and strategic thinking. His gray skin reflected the chamber's light, and his 3 eyes scanned the room with practiced efficiency. Today's meeting was supposed to be routine, a simple review of compliance reports from lesser species. But something felt wrong. The air carried a tension he could not name, a pressure building like the moments before a storm. High Arbiter Quellen called the session to order. She was a Velori, an ancient race that resembled floating jellyfish with translucent bodies filled with swirling lights. Her voice echoed through the chamber without sound, transmitted directly into the minds of every being present. We gather to address the continued silence from Sector 7, specifically the Sol system and its dominant species, humanity. A murmur spread through the assembly. Humanity. The word carried weight but not respect. For decades, humans had been nothing more than an interesting curiosity to the Council. They were young, aggressive, and surprisingly creative but technologically primitive. Their ships moved slowly through space. Their weapons were crude. Their understanding of quantum physics was elementary at best. The Council had classified them as a developing species, one that would need at least 500 years before they could join the greater galactic community as equals. Zirith had studied humanity more than most Council members. Something about them fascinated and troubled him in equal measure. Humans were unpredictable. They solved problems in ways that defied logic. They formed emotional bonds that seemed irrational but made them incredibly unified when threatened. Most importantly, they adapted faster than any species he had ever encountered. Give a human a challenge and they would find 10 different solutions, each more creative than the last. Strange silence. Arbiter Quellen continued her address. 73 standard cycles ago, we sent diplomatic envoys to Earth requesting their compliance with Dominion mining protocols. We offered them technology, protection, and a junior seat on the Regional Council in exchange for access to their planet's rare mineral deposits. They refused. Since that refusal, Earth has gone completely silent. No communications, no trade, no response to our repeated messages. Administrator Rexall, a tall insectoid creature with metallic green skin, clicked his mandibles impatiently. Why are we even discussing this? If they refuse to cooperate, we simply take what we need. They cannot stop us. Their military is laughable. We could conquer their entire planet with a single battle group. Several council members voiced their agreement. Humanity's silence was seen as defiance, and defiance from such a weak species was insulting. The Council had rules, systems, and procedures that had maintained order for millennia. Species that refused to comply were taught harsh lessons. It was efficient. It was necessary. It was how the galaxy functioned. But Zirith felt his concern growing deeper. He raised one of his 4 hands. High Arbiter, permission to speak. Quellen's lights pulsed in acknowledgement. Commander Zirith, you may proceed. I recommend caution, Zirith said carefully. Humanity's silence is unusual. In all our previous interactions, they were vocal, persistent, even aggressive in their diplomatic communications. This sudden quiet is inconsistent with their nature. I suggest we send reconnaissance probes before taking any military action. Rexall laughed, a harsh chittering sound. The great Krell strategist fears a species that barely has fusion reactors? Perhaps your legendary tactical mind is growing soft, Commander. Other council members joined in the mockery. Zirith remained calm, his 3 eyes steady. He had led campaigns across 100 star systems. He had conquered worlds that fought with weapons the council had never seen before. He knew the difference between caution and cowardice. And right now, every instinct he possessed screamed that something was very wrong. The first detection. Before anyone could speak further, the chamber's central hologram flickered. An alert symbol appeared, red and pulsing. Every being in the room turned toward it. Alerts during council sessions were rare. The chamber systems were shielded, encrypted, and protected by technology so advanced that nothing should be able to penetrate them. Science Officer Nalith, A young Velori whose lights glowed bright blue with excitement, rushed to the console. Her tentacles moved across the controls with rapid precision. High Arbiter, we are detecting unusual energy readings from the Sol system. The signature is unlike anything in our database. Quellen's lights dimmed slightly, a sign of displeasure. Define unusual. Nalitha's voice trembled as she read the data. The entire Sol system is generating a unified energy field. It started 3 cycles ago but was too faint for our long-range sensors. Now it is growing exponentially. The primary source appears to be Earth itself, but the readings make no sense. According to our scans, the entire planet is acting as a single energy generator. The chamber fell silent. A planet acting as one unified power source was theoretically possible, but it required technology far beyond what the Council possessed. It meant connecting billions of individual energy points into a perfect synchronized network. It meant overcoming entropy, managing quantum fluctuations, and maintaining stability across an entire planetary surface. The mathematics alone were staggering. Zirith stepped forward, his tactical mind already working through possibilities. Show me the energy distribution pattern. The hologram shifted, displaying Earth in stunning detail. The planet rotated slowly, and across its surface, thousands of bright points glowed with identical energy signatures. Major cities, small towns, even remote settlements all pulsed with the same frequency. Lines of light connected them, creating a web that covered the entire globe. It looked like a neural network, like a brain made of continents and oceans. How is this possible? Administrator Rexall demanded. Humans do not have this technology. We would have detected development of this scale. Nalith zoomed in on one of the energy points. It was located in what the humans called North America, centered over a city named Denver. The energy is not coming from machines, she whispered. It is biological. The readings match human neural activity, but amplified billions of times over. The implication hit the chamber like a shockwave. Humans themselves were generating the energy. Somehow, impossibly, they had learned to link their minds, their consciousness, their very thoughts into a single network. Every human on Earth, all 8 billion of them, working together as one unified system. Zirith felt ice run through his veins. He had read reports of species attempting consciousness linking. Every attempt had failed catastrophically. The mental strain destroyed individuals. The synchronization requirements were impossible. The energy needed exceeded what any biological system could produce. Yet humanity had somehow accomplished it. Growing unease. This must be analyzed immediately, Quellen announced. Science Officer Nalith, prepare a detailed assessment. Administrator Rexall, dispatch a reconnaissance fleet to the Sol system. I want answers. Rexall's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. Finally, action. I will lead the fleet personally. If humans think their little light show will intimidate us, they are badly mistaken. Zirith wanted to object, but Council protocol prevented him from speaking twice in the same session without direct permission. He watched helplessly as Rexall began organizing the mission. The administrator was arrogant, impatient, and underestimated threats. Sending him to investigate Earth was a mistake. But the Council had made its decision. The hologram continued displaying Earth's energy network. As Zirith watched, he noticed something else. The energy patterns were not random. They formed shapes, geometric configurations that shifted and evolved. It looked almost like language, like Earth itself was trying to communicate. But with whom? And about what? Nalith continued her analysis, her voice growing more uncertain with each reading. High Arbiter, the energy field is expanding. It has now reached Earth's moon and is continuing outward. At current growth rates, it will encompass the entire Sol system within 10 cycles. An expansion field? Quellen's lights flickered rapidly. For what purpose? Unknown. But High Arbiter, there is something else. Nalith hesitated, clearly afraid to speak. The energy signature contains information. Massive amounts of data, more than our systems can process. It is like Earth is broadcasting its entire history, its knowledge, its consciousness into space. The chamber erupted in confused discussion. Species shared information through databases, through transmissions, through physical records. But broadcasting raw consciousness? That was beyond anything the Council understood. It suggested a level of integration between mind and energy that defied known physics. Zirith studied the energy patterns more carefully. There was purpose here, intention. Humans were not simply experimenting with new technology. They were preparing for something. But what? Defense? Communication? Or something else entirely? His tactical training provided the answer, and it chilled him. This was a deterrent. Earth was showing the galaxy what it could do, demonstrating power without firing a single weapon. They were sending a message written in pure energy. We are not what you think we are. We have evolved. And if you threaten us, you will face something you cannot comprehend. The recognition came too late. Administrator Rexall was already departing to lead his reconnaissance fleet. The council members were arguing about protocols and procedures. No one else saw what Zirith saw. Humanity's silence had not been surrender or fear. It had been preparation. And now, whatever they had been building in secret was ready. Zirith looked at the hologram one final time. Earth glowed like a jewel wrapped in light, beautiful and terrifying. Somewhere on that planet, 8 billion humans had joined their minds together and created something the galaxy had never seen. The council still thought of them as primitive, as weak, as manageable. They were wrong. Catastrophically wrong. And Zirith feared they would learn that lesson in the worst possible way. The storm he had sensed earlier was not coming. It was already here. Humanity had found a way to make their entire planet into a weapon, a shield, a message and a warning all at once. The council's confidence was about to be shattered, and Zirith could do nothing but watch it happen. The fleet departs. Administrator Rexall stood on the command bridge of the Dominion warship Eternal Superiority, watching as 15 other vessels fell into formation around him. Each ship was a masterpiece of council engineering, equipped with particle beam cannons, quantum shields, and engines that could tear through the fabric of space itself. Together, they represented enough firepower to reduce a small moon to dust. Rexall felt supremely confident. Whatever trick the humans were playing with their energy readings, it would not matter. Power was power, and the council had perfected the art of warfare over thousands of years. The journey to the Sol system took only 3 standard cycles using the council's advanced jump drives. As they emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of human space, Rexall expected to see the primitive solar system he remembered from previous scouting reports. Small space stations, a handful of mining operations on Mars, maybe a few outdated satellites orbiting Earth. What he saw instead made his confidence falter for the first time in his long military career. The Sol system had transformed completely. A massive grid of energy nodes surrounded every planet, every moon, every significant asteroid. Brilliant streams of light connected them like a spider's web made of starfire. At the center of it all, Earth blazed with such intensity that the ship's sensors struggled to compensate. The planet was wrapped in layers of shimmering energy fields, each one rotating at a different speed, creating a hypnotic pattern that hurt to look at directly. "Report," Rexall demanded, trying to keep his voice steady. His tactical officer, a 4-armed Krell named Vorthen, worked frantically at his console. "Sir, the energy readings are off every scale we have. The field surrounding Earth alone generates more power than our entire battle group combined. And it's still growing." Rexall's mandibles clicked nervously. "Impossible. Run the scan again. Your equipment must be malfunctioning." Vorthen did not argue, but when the second scan completed, the results were identical. If anything, Earth's power output had increased in the few minutes since they arrived. The ship's main view screen zoomed in on the planet, and Rexall saw something that made his blood run cold. The energy field was not just defensive. It was intelligent. Patterns flowed across its surface like thoughts moving through a mind, complex equations and data streams visible to anyone who knew how to read them. "Sir, we are being scanned," Vorthen reported. "The source is Earth itself. Their scanning technology is penetrating our quantum shields as if they do not exist." "Impossible," Rexall repeated, but the words sounded hollow even to himself. "Activate all defensive systems. Prepare weapons. If they want to test us, we will show them what the Dominion's finest can do." But before any weapons could be charged, something extraordinary happened. The space between the Council fleet and Earth rippled like water disturbed by a stone. A wave of energy spread outward from the planet, moving faster than light itself, washing over every ship simultaneously. It did not damage them. It did not push them. It simply passed through every vessel, through every piece of equipment, through every being on board. For a moment, Rexall felt something impossible. He felt connected. Not just to his crew but to every human on Earth. 8 billion minds touched his consciousness for the briefest instant, and in that instant he understood what humanity had become. They had not just linked their minds together. They had evolved into something new, a collective consciousness that maintained every individual's identity while creating something infinitely greater than the sum of its parts. The sensation vanished as quickly as it came, leaving Rexall gasping for breath. Around the bridge, his crew members were recovering from the same experience. Some looked terrified. Others looked awed. All of them now understood what the Council had failed to grasp. Humanity was not a primitive species anymore. They had leaped forward evolutionarily in a way that should have taken millions of years. Earth speaks. The communication systems on every ship activated simultaneously without anyone touching the controls. A human voice filled the bridges, calm and clear, speaking in perfect Dominion standard language. But it was not one voice. It was billions of voices speaking in perfect harmony, creating a sound that was both beautiful and terrifying. Vessels of the Stellar Dominion Council, you have entered soul space without permission. You have come armed and with hostile intent. We know this because we felt your commander's thoughts when our consciousness touched yours. Administrator Rexall, you came here expecting to find weakness. You came prepared to conquer. You were wrong. Rexall tried to respond, but his communication system would not obey his commands. Earth was controlling his ship's technology remotely, effortlessly, as if the most advanced council systems were nothing more than children's toys. The unified human voice continued. 73 cycles ago, your council demanded we surrender our planet's resources. You offered us trinkets and empty promises. You treated us as inferiors because our technology was less advanced than yours. What you failed to understand is that humanity's greatest strength was never our technology. It was our ability to adapt, to evolve, to become whatever we needed to be in order to survive. On the view screen, Earth's energy field pulsed with each word, as if the entire planet was speaking. Rexall realized with growing horror that in a very real sense, it was. Every human on Earth was contributing to this message, their combined will focused on this single moment. When you left our system, we made a choice. We could continue developing slowly, following the traditional path of technological advancement, building bigger ships and better weapons until we were strong enough to stand against you. That would have taken centuries. Or we could try something that no other species has ever accomplished. We could evolve ourselves. Images began appearing on every ship's view screen, showing Earth's transformation over the past 73 cycles. Massive construction projects undertaken simultaneously across every continent. Scientific breakthroughs shared instantly across the entire population. And finally, the development of neural linking technology that allowed human minds to connect without losing their individual identities. We started small, the human collective explained. Small groups linking together to solve complex problems. Then cities. Then nations. And finally, on the first day of this cycle, every human being on Earth joined the network voluntarily. We became one while remaining many. We became humanity transcendent. Vorthan checked his instruments with shaking hands. Sir, new contacts. Multiple vessels emerging from concealment around Earth. The view screen split into multiple feeds. Ships were appearing from stealth positions throughout the Sol system. Not 15 vessels like the Council's reconnaissance fleet. Not even 100. Thousands of ships materialized, each one sleek and organic-looking as if grown rather than built. They moved with perfect coordination, taking up positions that surrounded the Council fleet in a three-dimensional formation that blocked every possible escape route. Rexall stared at the impossible armada. Where did they get the resources? The manufacturing capability? This is impossible. Nothing is impossible when 8 billion minds work as one, the human voice answered, somehow hearing his question despite his communication systems being offline. We have solved problems in days that would have taken your council decades. We have built ships using molecular assembly technology that reorganizes matter at the atomic level. We have created weapons you cannot comprehend and defenses you cannot penetrate. But we do not want to use them. The energy field around Earth pulsed again, and this time every ship in the Council fleet went dark. Engines stopped. Weapons powered down. Life support remained active, but every other system simply ceased functioning. The message was clear. Earth could have destroyed them all effortlessly. Instead they chose mercy. The demonstration. You need proof, the collective said. You need to see what we can do before you will believe. Very well. Watch. One of the human ships detached from the formation and moved toward a large asteroid at the edge of the system. It was a worthless rock, nothing of strategic or scientific value. The ship stopped next to the asteroid and a beam of soft blue light touched the surface. For a moment nothing happened. Then the asteroid began to change. Rock transformed into metal. Random minerals reorganized into pure elements. The shapeless mass reshaped itself into a perfect sphere. In less than 3 minutes, the asteroid had been completely restructured at the molecular level into a pristine metal sphere covered in geometric patterns. Then just as quickly the sphere broke apart and reformed into dozens of smaller objects, each one a perfect replica of a council ship. "We can create," the human voice said. "We can transform. We can build or destroy at the molecular level. Your ships, your weapons, your shields, all of them are nothing more than arranged atoms. And we can rearrange atoms with a thought." The demonstration continued. The replica ships performed maneuvers no council vessel could match, moving at impossible angles, accelerating and stopping instantaneously. Then they merged back together, forming new shapes, new designs, adapting and evolving in real time. Finally, they dissolved back into raw atoms and reformed into the original asteroid, as if nothing had ever happened. Rexall felt his confidence shatter into pieces. The Council's technological advantage, built over 10,000 years of civilization, had become meaningless. Humanity had found a shortcut, a way to manipulate reality itself using their collective consciousness as a tool. They had become something the galaxy had never seen before, something that existed between flesh and energy, between individual and collective, between matter and thought. "Power without wisdom is dangerous," the human collective said, and now their voice carried a tone of sadness. "We learned this lesson throughout our history. We have fought countless wars against ourselves. We have nearly destroyed our planet multiple times. We know what it means to have power and to misuse it. That is why we will not conquer you even though we could. That is why we will not destroy you, even though you came here intending to destroy us." The ships surrounding the Council fleet began to retreat, opening paths for escape. Systems on Rexall's vessel slowly returned to life. Engines hummed back to functionality. Weapons remained offline, but everything else worked normally. "Return to your council," humanity commanded. "Tell them what you saw here. Tell them that Earth will no longer accept threats or demands. We claim sovereignty over the Sol system and all space within 1 light year of our sun. Any vessel entering this space without permission will be peacefully disabled and escorted out. We do not seek war, but we will not tolerate oppression. We are offering the Council a choice. Accept us as equals and we can share knowledge, trade, and friendship. Continue treating us as inferiors, and you will find that we have become something far beyond your ability to control." Administrator Rexall wanted to argue, to threaten, to reassert the Council's authority. But the words died in his throat. He had felt Earth's collective consciousness. He had seen their ships perform impossible maneuvers. He had watched them reorganize matter with thought alone. The Council's authority meant nothing here. Not anymore. "We are sending you home now," the human voice said gently. "Not as an attack but as a courtesy. Travel safe, Administrator. And remember what you felt when our minds touched yours. Remember that we are not your enemies unless you make us so." Before Rexall could respond, space folded around his entire fleet. One moment they were at the edge of the Sol system. The next moment they were back at the Council chamber, exactly where they had started. Humanity had not just disabled their ships. They had moved 15 massive warships across dozens of light years instantaneously, using technology the Council did not possess and could not understand. Rexall slumped in his command chair, his mind reeling. The mission had been a complete disaster. He had not gathered intelligence. He had not intimidated humans. He had not demonstrated Council superiority. Instead, he had proven that humanity had surpassed them in every meaningful way. And now he had to return to the Council and tell them that everything they believed about humans was wrong. The galaxy's power structure had shifted in a single day. Earth's devastating counterstrike had not destroyed ships or taken lives. It had destroyed something far more important. It had shattered the Council's confidence, their certainty, their unquestioned belief in their own supremacy. And Rexall knew that nothing would ever be the same again.